Hello viewers, welcome to online course on mathematics stream of engineering field. Myself Sanjay Vishwas, Assistant Professor, Department of Applied Science and Humanities of Mathematics Section, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology. Here is the details of my contact information. Whenever you find any difficulties regarding my online course, you can contact freely and send mail with my mail ID sanjay.vishwas@gnit.ac.in. Discuss about curve representation by complex variable, and this is actually in chapter 2. So before we start our lecture 4, let's quickly recall in the last class. So in the last class I have already discussed harmonic function, conjugate harmonic function, and construct an analytic function using the harmonic function, and then I have discussed Milne-Thomson method, and from Milne-Thomson method how to find the analytic function without finding u or without finding v. So let's start with the content of our today's lecture. So in this lecture we will start with the introduction of curve representation by a complex variable. Then we'll give some example of curve representation. Then we'll study with parametric representation of a curve, and in this section we are going to discuss about parabolic curve, hyperbolic curve, and elliptic curve, etc. Then we'll go for the various types of curve. So in this section we'll study with closed curve, simple curve, piecewise curve, etc. And after that we are going to discuss about the next we are going to discuss about the Riemann definition of integration. So in this section we will study the integration on simple curve, and you know the simple curve is where the beginning and end point are not coincident actually. After that we are going to discuss about some properties of complex integration in this lecture, and then we'll talk about some related example of curve representation by complex variables. Okay, so first of all we will go for the curve representation by a complex variable. So what is the definition of curve representation? So basically let z is equal to x plus I y. You know this is the variable point, and this variable point is in domain or in the complex plane, like that. So be a complex variable, since a fixed z represent a point x comma y. So z is a fixed point and it can be written as a complex point, and you know any complex point can be written as x comma y within first bracket. So this point is in the organ plane or in the complex plane. So as z varies, the point xy moves on the plane and makes a locus or the curve. So we say this curve, say C, is represented the complex variable z. So that means, so if we take any point, say x comma y, so this point is on the organ plane. Okay, so there is a point x, z, and z is equal to x comma x plus I y, that means x comma y. So this point is a variable point. So if we take x is equal to 1 and x is equal to y is equal to 1, then this point is say on the organ plane of the first coordinate. If we take x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 2, this point is different from the first one. So if the point z is varies, then it makes a locus or a curve, and we say this curve is say C, and is represented in the complex plane. So we say this curve say C is represented by the complex variable Z. Okay, next we are going to talk about the parametric representation of a curve. So in this section there is a picture, and this picture is basically on the parabolic curve actually. So let Z is equal to x plus iy be a complex variable, and if we will take x is equal to phi of t and y is equal to psi of t, where t is a real variable, then there exists a relation between x and y. This relation gives a curve, say C. So then we say Z is equal to phi of t plus I into psi of t. So here x and y are the variable point, and x is equal to is a this is actually the parametric form. X is equal, Z is equal to phi of t plus I into psi of t, where phi t and psi t are the function of t on. Okay. So and the moving if we t is the variable, then Z is moved, and it makes a curve. So for example, let Z is equal to x plus iy and x is equal to 80 square and 280, y is equal to 280. So xy trace the parabola y square is equal to 4x. So in that case, the curve, the locus of the curve is actually the parabola. Okay, so y square is equal to 4x, and then we see Z is equal to 80 square plus I into 280 represent the parabola y square is equal to 4x in the organ plane. But when you will take x is equal to a cos t and y is equal to b sin t, what will happen? When we take x is equal to a cos t and y is equal to b sin t, so then the points Z is equal to a cos t plus I into b sin t, this point, that is the moving point, is called a ellipse. So it makes a locus, and this locus is called a ellipse. Similarly, similar thing will happen when we put x is equal to a sec theta or sec t and y is equal to b tan t, and in this case we will see Z is equal to a into sec t plus I into b tan t, and this represent the hyperbola in the organ plane. Okay, next we will talk about some definition of curve in an organ plane. So first we will talk about simple curve. So what is simple curve? So simple curve is basically if the beginning point of a curve and the end point of a curve are not coincident, then I will say this is a simple curve. Okay, so a curve C is called simple curve if it does not intersect itself. That means the beginning point and the end point are not coincident. So a curve, say C, this is the parametric form of any curve, phi of t plus I into psi of t, where t is the parameter. Okay, so it's simple if t1 is not equals to t2, this implies z of t1 is not equals to z of t2. So okay, look at the figure here. Say t1 is equal to minus 2 and t2 is equal to plus 2. So these 2 points, that is this I will say this point is the beginning point, and this is actually the end point. So these points are not coincide. So therefore this curve is called a simple curve. Okay, next we are looking for the closed curve. What is the definition of closed curve? So closed curve is basically where the beginning point and the end point are equal or coincide. So a simple curve is called a closed if the two end points means the beginning and the end. Okay, these 2 points are of a curve are coincide. Okay, I will take some example on a simple curve and closed curve. So basically the closed curve where beginning and end point are equal or coincide So let x square plus y square is equal to a square. So you know, all of you know that this is actually the circle. So this curve represented a circle. So here the beginning and end point are coincide. Okay, and next we are going to take one more curve. Say y square is equal to 4ax. So here the beginning and end point are not coincide. So that means the curve, that is parabola, is not a closed curve. This is a simple curve. So similar thing will happen when I will take x square by a square plus y square by b square is equal to 1. So you know, all of you know, this curve is represented the ellipse, and ellipse is a closed curve. But the hyperbola, that means x square by a square minus y square by b square is equal to 1, is represented a simple curve where the beginning and end point are not equal. So this one, we will look at the figure. So this is actually the closed curve, okay, where the beginning and end point are coincide. So now we are going to talk about some more definition of a curve. So this is actually the smooth curve. So the smooth curve is where for every point there is a tangent, and this tangent is unique. So a curve C is called smooth if it processes unique tangent at every point. So this the curve, first one, the previous curve and this curve is actually the smooth curve. But the straight line, say any straight line. So in any straight line there is a tangent, but this tangent it coincide. Okay, so this so the straight line is not a smooth curve. But circle, hyperbola, ellipse are all the smooth curve. So at every point of hyperbola or ellipse there is a unique tangent. So next we are going to talk about contour or piecewise smooth curve. So piecewise smooth curve is actually a curve is called contour or piecewise smooth if it is compressed of a finite number of smooth curve. For example, let ABC be any triangle. So in that triangle, AB, BC and CA are three edge. So AB is a smooth curve where the beginning and end point are not coincide. Similarly, BC, in the edge BC, it is also the smooth curve. It is also the simple curve. CA is also the simple curve. So that's why the three pieces AB, BC and CA are the smooth curve. That means the triangle ABC is contour or piecewise smooth curve. Okay, next we are going to talk about Riemann definition of integration. So basically Riemann definition of integration is defined on simple and piecewise smooth curve. It is not defined in closed curve. Okay, so let f of z be a function where z varies over a piecewise smooth and simple curve C, capital C. So this is the simple curve where the beginning point x is equal to a and the end point is z is equal to a and z is equal to b. Okay, so let the initial curve of C say beginning point is a, capital A, and let the end point is capital B respectively. And if C is closed, then the beginning point and end point are equal. So in that case we are going to find the Riemann definition of integration for the simple curve. So now let divide C into n arc by means of the points say P such that z0 is equal to a, z1, z2, okay, z3 and up to zn, and zn is equal to b. So this curve, look at the figure. So this curve is the any arbitrary curve on the complex plane, and whose the beginning point is z0 and z0 is equal to a, and the end point is zn and zn is equal to b. So now this curve divided into n arc. Okay, so this arc are either equally divided or unequally divided. So if it equally divided, then z1, so modulus of z1 minus z2 is equal to modulus of z2 minus z3, okay, are all equal. But here we will take the arc are not equal. So C divided into an arc by means of the points, and P is equal to such that z0 is equal to a, z1, z2, z3 up to zn, and zn is equal to b along the curve C. On each arc between, say I will take two points, arbitrary point zr minus 1 and zr. So choose some points xi r, and xi r be any variable point in any arc. Now modulus of zr minus 1 minus zr is the length of the chord joining the 2 points zr minus 1 and zr. So zr minus 1, this is the length of the any chord. Okay, so I will take a arbitrary length zr minus 1 minus zr. If we take r is equal to 2, then it will be z1 minus z0. Okay, so similarly if we put r is equal to 3, then we will get z2 minus z1. So these are all the length of the chord, and these lengths are not equal because the points are not divided into n equally. Okay, so now let norm of p, this is called a norm or mathematical expression of norm function. Norm of p is equal to maximum of all such chords. So there are n number of chords and all chords are not equal. So I will take norm of p, and norm of p is equal to the maximum of all chords. Okay, so this is equals to max of 1 less or equal to r less or equal to n modulus of zr minus 1 minus zr. So from the sum, sp is equal to summation over r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 minus zr into f of xi r, and f of xi r is a variable within any chord, where xi r is a point lying on the arc joining zr minus 1 and zr. So now if limit norm of p tends to 0, sp is equal to limit norm of p tends to 0 summation over r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 minus zr into f of xi r, exist finitely. So in this case we will take norm of p tends to 0 on both sides. Okay, so we will take this function. So there is this limiting function exists finitely for any partition, say that f of z is integrable along the curve C, and it can be written as integration of C f of z dz. So in the real analysis we have seen that the integration function is actually where f of z is continuous at each of the points of a curve. The similar thing will happen in the complex plane, where the limiting value, that means norm of p tends to 0, summation r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 and minus zr f of xi r exists finitely for any partition, and then f of z is integrable function over the curve C, and it can be written as in mathematically closed integration C f of z dz. So therefore integration over C f of z dz is equal to limit z tends to 0 summation over r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 minus zr into f of xi r. So this is equals to limit n tends to infinity, this is actually n tends to infinity, summation r is equal to n zr minus 1 minus zr f of xi r. This is the mathematical expression of Riemann definition of integration. So closed integration of a c f z dz is equal to summation limit n tends to infinity summation of r is equal to 1 to n z r minus 1 minus z r f of chi r. So here n is the number of points in the partition P. This is a positive number actually. So C is called the path of integration or the contour. P is called the partition of C, and this integration, closed integration C f z dz, is called the contour integration of complex function. Integration of C over C z dz is equal to 1 by 2 b square minus a square. So this curve is lies in the closed interval a comma b. That means the beginning point of the curve is a and the end point is b on the orthogonal plane. So here is the curve C and this curve, okay, this is a moving curve. So the beginning point is a and the end point is b. So now applying the Cauchy-Riemann definition of integration, we will get integration over C z dz is equal to limit n tends to infinity summation over r is equal to 1 to n zr minus zr minus 1 into chi r, and chi r is the moving point and lies in any arc, say zr minus 1 and zr. That means zr minus 1 is less or equal to chi r, less or equal to zr. So either chi r is equals to zr or chi r is equal to zr minus 1. So now I will take chi r is equal to zr at first. So this integration will be changed. So therefore the integration over c z dz is equals to limit z tends to infinity n tends to infinity r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 into zr. So here chi r is equal to zr. Next if we take chi r is equal to zr minus 1, then the Riemann definition of integration will be changed and it will be limit n tends to infinity r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 into zr minus 1. So in the first equation here we will take chi r is equal to zr, and in the second equation I will take chi r is equal to zr minus 1. So now adding equation 1 and 2 we will get 2 into integration of c z dz, and it is equals to limit n tends to infinity summation over r is equal to 1 to n zr minus 1 into zr plus summation over n is equal to infinity summation over r is equal to 1 to infinity z r minus into z r minus 1. After simplifying this, we will get limit n tends to infinity r is equal to 1 to n zr square minus zr minus 1 square. It is not plus sign, it is actually the minus sign, zr square minus zr minus 1 square. So after that we extract the summation and putting the limit n tends to infinity, we will get limit n tends to infinity zn square minus z0 square. This is not plus sign, it is actually the minus sign. So from this we will get b square minus a square. That is integration over c z dz is equal to half of b square minus a square. This is the proof of theorem 1.